Hello and welcome to another tutorial from CamiPaige Boutique. I'm Brooke Tannehill and I am a member of the Red Kingdom, meaning I love me some Kansas City Chiefs and my homies is my homie. That is why I am so excited to bring you this tutorial to not only show you this awesome shot glass keychain, but also celebrate the Chiefs' appearance in the Super Bowl. As always, all the products I use will be listed in the description below, and you may even find a coupon code that saves you some coin. If you like this video and want to see future crafting tutorials, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you are notified of all new content. Also, come join our exclusive Facebook group where you can take advantage of upcoming freebies and giveaways that you aren't going to want to miss. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and get started. For this project, I am starting with a 3-ounce straight skinny mini keychain from Hog Outfitters, and I am actually going to be putting this cup on a specially made adapter from CamiPaige Boutique. So this size tumbler screws on, and so we made an adapter that fits there perfectly and allows you just to slide it onto your turner arms, just like this. So you just slide it on, tighten it with the little thumb screw, and then you're ready to decorate. Trust me when I tell you this adapter makes it so much easier to decorate these little tumblers. So I have this super cute vinyl from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. I just love the leopard print and it is perfect Chiefs colors. So I'm just going to line this up and get it as straight as possible and then kind of size it on the mini tumbler to make sure that I've got the right amount for my stripes. So you can see that right there. I'm just kind of visualizing it from the top. Then I'm just going to come in and kind of slice that stripe so that we can go ahead and get that applied to our cup. Once we have our vinyl strip, I'm going to take the Ultimate Decal Guide and just mark a straight line on the mini tumbler. What this does is it allows me to use it as a guide to get my vinyl lined up and applied to the tumbler as easily as possible. So I'm just going to make sure that it's straight, get it lined up, make a little straight line at the top of the tumbler, and then I'm going to start to use that as a reference for my vinyl. Now, I don't know if you caught it, but we actually also have a mini cradle that makes decorating these super cute little cups super easy. It fits the Hog ones that we're using here or the Tipsies, but I'm just going to peel the vinyl back, cut off a little bit of that paper backing so that I just have a little bit of that adhesive exposed. So then I'm going to hopefully not get it stuck where I don't want it, but I'm going to take that little bit of the sticky side of the vinyl and line it up with that straight line. And that way I know that I'm going to get the vinyl adhered to this tumbler as straight as possible. We're not going to have as much walking, and it's really just going to simplify the process of applying this vinyl. So I'm just going to keep on kind of lining up the vinyl as much as possible. I'm actually live while I'm doing this, so I'm talking to people, which is kind of distracting me at the same time as I'm applying this, so I do apologize, but that's why it's taken a little bit longer than normal. But I'm just going to get that little section applied, and then I'm going to work to get the rest of the vinyl adhered to the top of this tumbler. The method of applying this vinyl is also called the hinge method. So we went ahead and got that little section of our hinge applied. And then if you saw, I just kind of tinted the paper backing away from the vinyl. So that way I can just come in with my squeegee and just push the paper backing off of the vinyl. So you can see there how it's kind of coming off. And I'm just kind of gently pushing the vinyl down, making sure that I'm not getting any bubbles, and then just kind of making my way around the cup. So I'm just smoothing it out and then making sure that I'm getting it adhered again with as few bubbles as possible. And then I'm going to stop right at the place where the two ends of the vinyl meet. So you can see right there, we got it all lined up since we used our Ultimate Decal Guide. And then I'm going to take my craft knife that you see there and then just go along the seam. So I really like to make sure to push down that seam so I can see it really well. And that way I can use that as a guide when I do trim all of the vinyl. So again, I lifted it up because I just wasn't quite happy with the way it laid there first, but then I'm just going to kind of push down again, use it as a guide, and then just run my craft knife quickly down that seam to get as straight of a cut as possible. I'm then going to gently lift up the excess because I don't want to pull the vinyl off at the bottom, and then we're going to move to the next step. So if you've watched any of my previous tutorials, you know that I like to expose the top little rim of stainless steel on my tumblers. So I grabbed my vinyl cutter right here. This is from CamiPaige Boutique, and I put it on the half spacer, and I'm just slowly spinning the top of my cup to kind of, well, not kind of, but to cut that vinyl and give me that perfect edge at the top of this mini tumbler. I do this because I really want to make sure that my layers of epoxy have that stainless steel to adhere to, so that you don't get the instances where moisture or fluids can get behind that epoxy and your tumbler starts to peel. So by just exposing that little bit of stainless steel at the top of my cup, it takes care of that, and I don't have anything to worry about. Now, I am using my X-Acto knife here just to get it started because my freaking nails, I'm just gonna get them taken off. I couldn't get the vinyl off, so I just used my X-Acto knife to kind of pull it off, and then I had just changed the blade so it was super sharp, so that was cutting the vinyl at the same time. So you can see there I'm just kind of removing that little bit of the vinyl at the top of the cup, and then we are ready to move on to the next steps. Once we're done with that, I'm going to put the mini tumbler back on to the adapter because I like to use a tumbler arm when I'm glittering. It just makes it a lot easier, and I'm not dropping stuff or fumbling with everything around. And then I'm just going to grab some painter's tape and go over that edge of vinyl that we had just laid down so that I can start to apply my glitter. So I'm just going to get the blue painter's tape lined up and then quickly go around that vinyl just to make sure that we're protecting all of that beauty by the tape and not getting any contamination from our glitter glue or our glitter that we'll be applying. Now, one thing you will notice with this is I am not painting the base of my tumbler. I know I never do that, but the reason why I'm just coming in with glitter glue instead of painting the base is because this glitter, which is absolutely beautiful. It's Autumn Afternoon from the Drunk Flamingo. It has a kind of silver metallic base. So I didn't need to paint the base of my tumbler because the glitter matches it perfectly. So I'm just coming in with a little bit of glitter glue on this bottom section of the cup. I'm trying to make sure that I get a nice even coat over the entire bottom, so that way I don't have to kind of come back or have any kind of inconsistencies with the glitter. And I'm just taking my time as much as possible because I don't want this to dry on me, but I'm just making sure to cover the entire bottom section of this tumbler. Don't forget the butt because we are going to be glittering over the butts, but you can see I'm just kind of taking my time and making sure that I am getting that super even coat over this entire surface. Once I'm happy with the glitter glue coverage, I'm going to open up my glitter. I'm going to put a wax sheet of paper down just to make sure that I can capture all of that glitter and reuse it. And then I'm just going to let her rip, tater chip, and coat this entire bottom of this cup. So I'm not going to be doing any kind of ombres or anything like that. But I do want to call out that this glitter looks kind of orange on the camera, but it is absolutely perfect for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's got a silver base, like I had mentioned, but it's also got a perfect yellow and red just mixed into it that makes it the epitome of the Red Kingdom. Yes, I'm going to go there and say that. So once I'm happy with this coverage, I'm going to tap it off a little bit, and then I'm going to get another piece of paper. Like you can use wax paper like I'm doing here, or whatever you have on hand. And I'm just going to roll this and kind of get down any of the pokey bits of that glitter, like push to the surface so it takes less epoxy to cover this. So I'm going to let this dry for about 45 minutes, spray seal this with clear gloss spray paint. Then I'm going to go in with 2 coats of epoxy, and then we're going to move into the next steps. Like movie magic, it is ready for those next steps that I was just mentioning. So I like to give all of my cups a nice sanding just to knock down, again, any of those pokey bits. I know I say that all the time, but this just helps to get my cups really smooth. And what's interesting is that I had I had ran into a family member the other day when I was giving my sister this keychain, because this was made for her. And she was looking at it and she's like, oh my gosh, I can definitely tell a difference in the quality of your tumblers versus some other ones that I had purchased before. So Word of advice, sand your cups. It makes all the difference in the world. It really helps to level up the quality and just the overall finished product. So I highly, highly, highly recommend sanding. So here I'm just focusing on the butt of this cup because it does have some of those pokey bits, just because this isn't a super chunky mix, but it's kind of on the medium chunky side. So you just don't want to have any of those unsightly kind of pieces poking up. So I am taking my time just to kind of sand the whole cup, and I am just using a sanding block versus my typical orbital sander because of how small this piece is. That if I was to use my orbital, this thing would be flung across the room. While that would be entertaining, it probably wouldn't be wise. So I'm just going to sand this down, then wash it with Dawn just soap and water, let it dry, and then it's time to pinstripe. Once the tumbler is all dry, I put it in its mini cradle, and it was time to start pinstriping. So I have a pack of nail tape that I bought off Amazon, and I will list it down in the description below. But I chose kind of I want to say the chunkiest or the widest gold metallic nail tape that I had, and I am going to go around the tumbler right where the vinyl meets the glitter. So I got the vinyl very straight on the cup, so I know that that is a good guide to get my pinstriping as straight as possible on this cup. So I'm just kind of taking my time and just moving the cup slowly. So again, you can see why this cradle is so awesome. I'm not trying to shamelessly plug my products, but it did make all the difference in the world with this cup. So I'm just going to make my way around the tumbler, and then I like to start and stop with the seam of the vinyl. So I started it right there, and I'm just going to come in with my craft knife and really push down the nail tape to line it up with the vinyl. Now here what I'm doing is I overlapped it, so I'm just taking off the excess that is underneath the nail tape with my craft knife. Now you don't have to do this. I'm just doing this because I'm neurotic and I'm worried about the seams showing with my tumblers. So I'm just kind of coming in right here, lifting off that excess and then laying it back down. Once I'm done with the gold, I'm gonna come in with this medium size red metallic nail tape. So you can see here, and this is a really good way to kind of demonstrate how I do this. I'm going to overshoot the seam here. So you can see I'm really trying to lay down some extra of the nail tape just to kind of go over that seam. But you can see I push it down and really make sure that it's adhered well on that seam. And I do this because a lot of times when you're using nail tape, the oils from your hands kind of don't allow that very end to stick. So I just overshoot it a little bit, cut off the excess, and then I'm just going to use the gold nail tape that we already laid down as the guide and just kind of split the difference with this medium size nail tape. So I'm just going to kind of make my way around. Again, taking my time. Some of the feedback that I had gotten on some previous tutorials was that with it sped up, it wasn't really, people couldn't see how I do it well enough. So this is just real time be doing the pinstriping, and I do this because I want you to see that I really do take my time, because these little bits of detail really can set apart cups. So take your time. Don't feel like you have to rush through this to get it perfect, because the more you do it, the faster you will go. But this is me in real time getting it done. So I'm going to make my way around, and then again, when I come to that seam, just push down with my craft knife, put my finger over the seam, and just kind of lift off. Now, you can absolutely stop here, go in with a coat of epoxy and then decal if you wanted it, but I wanted to make this bougie like my boys, so I wanted to go ahead and add some more pinstriping. So this is the medium size gold that's in this pack. It's the same size as the red that we put in the middle of the original gold band that we're laying down, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it a little bit down. I usually use a guide, but I didn't have any tape as a guide that was this small, and I'm just making my way around the tumbler to kind of offset that original pinstriping that we had laid down. Now, since I don't have a guide, I am moving just a little bit slower because I'm just kind of making sure that everything's lying out the way I want it, because I do feel like if you do have any wonkiness with your pinstriping, it shows. Your eye immediately goes to it. So I am just kind of taking my time, just slowly spinning the cup, and then if I don't like it, I pull it up and I do it again. So you can see there that I was just not happy with how it was laying down, but it's okay. It's all right to go back and fix what you don't like. You're going to feel better about it in the outcome versus just leaving it. And then you're always just going to be looking at that from now on. So I'm just going to kind of continue to do this piece of gold until I'm happy with it. And then we can move into the next set of pinstripes that we're going to be adding. Once I get that gold piece laid down, I grabbed a thin piece of the red. Now this is also in the pack of nail tape that I have, and I'm going to add this into the middle of that second piece of gold that we had laid down. So again, using the seam as my starting place, overshooting it a little bit. We'll trim it in a second, but I'm just going to use that gold as a guide and just kind of lay down this super thin nail tape to really just add some more detail to the cup. I was really happy that I decided to do this extra little bit of pinstriping because I think it really helped to kind of bring the whole design together. So again, I'm just going to add this in the middle, and then I'm going to take this same pinstripe and follow the exact same process, but I'm going to do one thin line above the big line that we had added. So like another of this thin red on top of the vinyl, about the same spacing above, and then one underneath the line that we are laying down now with that same red below. So there's going to be 4 pinstripe lines in total, if that makes sense. Once I have all my pinstriping the way I want it, I will come back with Quick Seal. It is from Artistry Epoxy, and it really locks down my nail tape. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to apply epoxy over nail tape before, but it is notorious for lifting when you don't want it to. So I come in with the Quick Seal, you apply it like you do epoxy. You just need a super thin coat, let it dry for about an hour, and then you can move in with your coats of epoxy. So I did use Artistry's 101 Fast Set on this. I just did one coat because I did want to make sure that I had a perfectly smooth surface when I went in to apply my decal. And then we are ready to start on that part of this project. So for this decal, I created this design myself, and I'm deciding that because I love the Kansas City Chiefs so much, it will be available for free in the Corrupted Crafters Facebook group that will be listed down in the description below. But I cut my decal at 3 inches wide, and I am using this super cute vinyl from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. So this top red right here is their fantasy films in the red color. And then I am putting it over the top of this textured vinyl from Tech Wrap. I also purchased this from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. We do have a discount code with them that saves you 10% on your orders. So I'm super excited if you guys do decide to purchase these items. But I'm just going to overlay the red fantasy film over the textured vinyl like you see here. I am not going to do any kind of hinge method. I just kind of eyeball it because I found that that works the best for me. So I just cut this again at 3 inches, and on my Cricut, I do use the textured vinyl setting because I think that works wonderfully. And then for the fantasy film, ooh, you like my hair right there? I hope it was washed. I'm totally kidding. For the fantasy film, I just do the vinyl plus, and it works great to get that all cut the way I want it to. So again, I'm just going to kind of line it up like you see it right there, then just send it as you would say. And then I just really make sure to take my squeegee and get it all pressed down nice and evenly so that you don't have any bubbles between the vinyl that can then present problems down the road. So again, I like to make sure that it's nice and pushed together, and then we can go ahead and get this applied to our tumbler. So to apply the decal, I'm going to put the tumbler down using the mini cradle. And then I like to put my finger on the seam and set it down so I know that that is the back of the cup. And so again, this has a coat of epoxy over the pinstriping, so it's nice and smooth. And then I'm just going to apply this at a diagonal. That's how I wanted to do it on this cup. You could obviously do it straight. You could do it any way that you liked. I just thought it was kind of a fun little detail that really added to the overall design and just kind of kept connect with the Kansas City love. So I'm just gonna make sure that I have it all nice and lined up and at the angle that I want. And then I do like to push down in the center of my decals. Now, the reason why I do this is because I push down in the center, I get it nice and adhered, and then I like to roll out from there just to make sure that I'm not getting any bubbles under my vinyl. Now, especially when you're layering vinyl like we did with this decal, it's really important to make sure that you're laying this down and not getting any air bubbles under any part of this vinyl. So by applying it from the middle outwards on both sides, you're really working to prevent that. So after this decal was applied, I went in with 2 coats of epoxy and the tumbler portion of this cup was done. I applied my hardware to the lid of this tumbler because it comes with a little hole that makes the jump ring super easy to attach. Added this wonderful little fuzzy ball and the straw topper that you see there is actually what that is right there. I got it from Vinyl Fun for Everyone, and I thought it was a nice little detail. And I cannot wait to have my sister showcase this little shot glass tumbler at all of the Kansas City Chiefs festivities this weekend. I hope this tutorial inspires you, and I can't wait to see what you create. If you have any questions about any of the steps or information, please feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to help. As always, thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you like this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see future videos. You can also ring the bell so you're notified of all future cup making goodies. Thank you again. I love you guys. Bye.